Hi, I'm Jody Worrell. Today we'll learn a B.B. King style guitar solo. This solo is intended to capture that signature bluesy B.B. sound while still being playable by guitarists at most levels. The track I'll use is a blues in the key of A minor. Let's start by hearing that solo. Now let's dive in and learn how to play the first 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighty, we're going to start off our BB solo with what could be argued is his most signature thing, where he plays a high note. Doesn't have a bend to it or anything, it just falls off of it. So in our case, it's the 17th fret. I've got the 4th finger written, but use what you want to. We're just going to be there for a second, so wherever you want to play that. So we'll do that. Then I'm going to come down here to kind of our little home base for most of this phrase, which is between the 10th, 8th, and 9th frets. We'll start with the 10th fret on the first string, and I'll bend it up to 12 and then play it unbent. So it's rest. Then at the very end of that bar, we've got a couple of 16th notes, just 8 to 10. Then we're going to make that bend again. We're in bar 2 now. Bend it and then play the 8th fret. So before we went bend and then play the same fret, 10 bend and then 10 fretted. This time we're going to go 10 bend, 8th fretted. And then the 10th fret of the second string. So there's the first phrase. We're sort of going to play something similar to that right afterwards. So here it is. 3, 4, rest. That's a long note. That's a half note on the 10th fret of the second string. And you can you just need to escape that note whenever it's necessary for you to get up here and play the 17th fret. And this time we're going to play it 4 times. So that's sort of setting up the third measure, which is a lot like the first measure. So we've got rest, move. So that part is the same. Then instead of after, this time we're going to go from the 10th fret of the second string to the 8th fret of the first. Then it's 10. We're going to play 8th notes. Da, 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 da. Now you can get that 10, you can get that 12 by bending 10 if you want to. Down to 8, back to 10, and then the 10th fret of the second string. Or you could go. He would do either one. Then there are 3 more notes in that bar, but we're not going to play them. They're going to serve as a pickup to the next phrase. So we'll just leave those out for now. So here is phrase 1. 3, 4. Rest. Move. Phrase number 1. I'll play that phrase with our track. It's time to trade that phrase back and forth with the track. I'll go first, I'll leave a space for you after me, and we'll do it 3 times each. Now yours. Again. And you. Last time. And yours. All right. Let's look at the next 4 bars where we cover the D minor chord for 2 bars and then back to the A minor. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to play that pickup that I talked about at the end of phrase 1. It occupies beat 4 of the last bar of phrase 1, which is the bar before the first bar of phrase 2. So I will count to 3 and then play those 3 notes. And it's just a bend. We have a little wiggle room here. We can bend the 7th fret up a half step or a whole step. It's so brief that it really doesn't matter, but we do have defensible wiggle room. It could be or. Either one will work, and that's kind of up to you. It's subjective, whatever you like the sound of better. So it's 1, 2, 3. Now, we're starting to talk about D minor 7 for 2 bars. So the first thing I'm going to play is a D note, which is a good note for a D chord. So it's the 7th fret, and then a quick 7-5-7 onto the 5th fret of the 2nd string. And you can pull that off if you want to. Pull off, hammer on, or pick. Probably some mixture that includes hammer-ons or pull-offs will be more expressive and maybe more like BB would have played it. Let me see. I just pulled that off, but I played it again when it got back to 7. That's a good way to do it. Then we've got a quarter rest followed by a quarter rest, so we don't start till beat 2 of the next bar. 2, 3, 4, 1. So this is a real classic little move of his. It's a little tricky. We're going to play the 5th fret. This is 16th notes. 16th notes are usually kind of hard to play, but this is a slow tempo and they're not that fast. But we're going to play the 5th fret of the 2nd string followed by the 5th fret of the 3rd string, so you kind of got to roll that little first finger. We don't want it to sound like a chord. Let me see. 4, 1. So we're making a little circle. We're playing 5th fret 2nd, 5 to 7 on the 3rd, and back to the 5th on the 2nd. Then back to that 5th fret 3rd. Then I'm going to play a little quick 7-5-7, just like we did on the 3rd string. This time it's the 4th string. wind up on that big half note, which is at the beginning of bar 3. So far, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3. Then we've got one more little sort of punctuation that we're going to do on this. We're going to slide from 7 to 9. That'll be the second finger. We've got a little rest, so it's a 1, 2, rest. So that's slide 7 to 9 on the 3rd string, 2nd finger. 8th fret 2nd, back to that 9th fret 3rd. Hop over to the 1st string. And then a big old 10th fret 2nd string, which is our A note again. Just like this. So down here we went, and we're going to 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, rest. Then again, we have a little pickup that we will save for phrase 3. So we're going to ignore that you see written, that little triplet. So, in summary, let's play phrase number 2 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, rest. That's phrase number 2. Now I'll play that phrase with our track. 3. 'Again, we'll trade licks with the track. I'll go first. We'll do it 3 times each. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 3. All right. Let's move on to our last 4-bar phrase where we turn it around over the F major 7 and E7 sharp 9 chords. 1, 2, 3. Alrighty, we've got another pickup. Before it was, this one occupies beat 4 of the previous bar as well. This time it's a triplet, and a triplet is where we cram more 8th notes into a quarter note than will fit. So 2 8th notes would sound like this. 4 16th notes would sound like this. So quarter, 8th, 16th, triplet. It has sort of, it almost feels like it's being held back a little bit. Ba, 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 ba. It has a dramatic effect, and it sort of adds gravity to a lick. So it's 1, 2, 3. So not 1, 2, 3. That was what we would have done. These three notes phrased the way that other one, but we're going 1, 2, 3, 4. And I often think four triplet. It just, you'll hear it, you'll feel it. So anyway, those are our first notes. 10 on the second string, 8 to 10 on the first. 1, 2, 3, triplet. Then back to that 8th fret. So we play the 8th fret on the first string. That's note 1 in phrase 3. Then 16th notes on the 10th and 9th frets of the 2nd and 3rd strings. It's a little hard. I'm thinking of this chord. I'm just kind of scrolling through the notes of the chord, which will never be wrong. So that 10, 9, 10. Now we're back to 8th notes. One, two, triplet. That gets us around to, so that's 10, 9, 10, back up to our original 8th fret note, then 10 to 8 on the second, then to that 9th fret on the third. We're just right in this little box. Then we'll take whatever time, we'll let that note last most of a half note, but we've got to move down to, remember that one from the previous phrase. And just to make it a little different, I made, it's exactly what we played before, but I had a full step 7-5-7 on the 4th string. This time I'm going to do a half step. It's completely subjective. It's so brief that it doesn't even really change it much, but I like it. It's just, there's a cool subtlety to it. So far we have 1, 2, 3. So after our little half step move, 7-6-7, we're right on a downbeat, A minor chord, A note on the 4th string. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th fret, 4th string, 7th fret, 5th, those are 16th notes. 1, 2, rest. Sorry. 1, 2, rest. 1 E and a 2 E and a rest, and that's just a cool little thing. Where we play 5 to 7, then we jump all the way over to the 3rd string after playing the 5th. To rest. Now we're going to go 7th fret, 4th string. That'll be a dotted 8th followed by a 16th. 1 E and a. 1 E and a, 2 and. So whenever you see that, 2 notes tied together, well, one of them's got a dot and one of them's got a little half of a flag, it means we're waiting, we're adding weight, adding duration to the front note instead of it being, it's. So, ba-dum-bum. And then we wind up on that 7th fret of the 5th string. Okay, let's play the whole thing. 1, 2, 3. There it was, phrase number 3. Let's hear how that one sounds with the track. 2, 3. I'm rolling the track one more time, and we'll trade licks on phrase 3. 3. Okay. Now I'm going to play the solo in its entirety twice in a row. Play along and try to catch up if you get lost rather than just starting over. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. It helps you bring elements of BB's style to your own playing. To learn even more solos, check out my BB King style book on Amazon. I'm Jody Worrell, and I'll see you next time.